To better understand the why behind Russia's attack on Ukraine, we want to bring in now Nina Khrushcheva, who's a professor of international affairs at the New School in New York and granddaughter of former Russian Premier of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev. So, Nina, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us to dive into the history a little bit. What does Ukraine mean to Russia and more specifically to Vladimir Putin?
Hi, thank you. Ukraine means a lot. It's a tradition that goes thousands of years. It is Kievan Rus was once a proto-state for both Russia and Ukraine, so they share the same origin. So that is already history of centuries old. To Vladimir Putin, he's been speaking about it, he's been writing about it, and in his view, he sort of subscribes to the traditional view of many Russians that Ukraine in its original, actually its name in Russian means on the edge. So it's on the edge of the Russian Empire. It used to be called the small Russia. So that's another thing that I'm sure he's thinking about. And he has said many times that the original Ukraine that was that can exist as Ukraine was very small because the rest of it, a lot of it was given to Ukrainians by the Soviet regime. And he essentially doesn't recognize this because his historical Ukraine, historically Ukraine is small and Russian Empire is big and much bigger. And that's what it seems that he's interested in. I think he's interested in uniting three Slavic countries, which is Belarus, the dictator Alexander Lukashenko is basically in his pocket, then Ukraine, and then Russia. So it would be pan-Slavic state, so to speak.
So China has refused to condemn Russia's attack, instead implying that the United States is in part bearing some responsibility for, quote, fanning up the flames. So I'm asking, in your opinion, do you think the United States is in any way even to partly blame for what's going on right now?
Well, I got many times in trouble for answering this question, so let me just do it again and say I understand that there's different opinions with many people. I don't think it can be blamed for this, but I certainly think that in Putin's view, that American intelligence that has been leaked and promised that he's going to invade tomorrow, and we call him to answer for this and that. The Kremlin certainly saw this as provocation. The Kremlin saw it as an embarrassment. They thought that the diplomatic efforts on the American part was not necessarily in earnest or not earnest enough. And so in this sense, I think that's what the Chinese meant. And that's probably what Putin was responding to, because the military part of his brain just couldn't take, his autocratic brain, authoritarian brain couldn't take this kind of provocation as he saw it. I thought it would be a proportional response. He would stop at recognizing independence of Donetsk and Luhansk, and then start negotiation further. But clearly, I was absolutely wrong, and he really has now acting in the worst tradition of despots and tsars and very medieval kind of control of the land, military, horrible, nasty control of the land that he wants to have.
Nina, as we mentioned, you are the granddaughter of former Russian Premier of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev. Though your grandfather generally pursued a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West, the Cuban Missile Crisis did, in fact, happen after he positioned nuclear weapons 90 miles south of Florida. So the relationship between the United States and Russia has a long history of being strained by differing opinions. Does this attack, you think, sever the relationship, or does it complicate it that much more?
Well, I just want to say that Khrushchev positioned the weapons 90 miles away from the U.S. coast when he felt that it was very unfair that NATO has its missiles in Poland, which was very close. Poland and Turkey, which was very close to the Russian border, to the Soviet border, socialist border across the Black Sea. And as we remember, that crisis was resolved in 13 days because both John Kennedy, president at the time, and Nikita Khrushchev had humanity. They realized that they cannot really put the world through actual war, World War III. I don't see it in today's leader of Russia. Vladimir Putin doesn't seem to care what kind of horror he inflicts on the population, and there is a difference. But I think the original part was Putin's message, like Khrushchev's message, was if you are in our if you are in our space or our sphere of influence, we're coming to yours. Putin was saying, kind of following Barack Obama's note, that Russia is just a regional power. And so Putin's message was, if I am just a regional power, this is my region, get out of my region. And I'll do anything I need to do, violent or any other way, to make sure that the region is mine.
Yeah, and we're seeing that right now play out in front of the world. Nina Khrushcheva, thank you so much for going into the history with us, as it is so important. It's such a big part of this. Thank you. Kira?
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.